So if we're talking politics, I'm done talking.
Call meeting to order.
Yes, Ms. Hawkins?
Here.
Mr. Lopez?
Here.
Mr. Wright?
Here.
And Mr. Hennis?
Here.
Item B, board agenda review. So the potential modifications of class review.
Well, as far as the board agenda review, tonight's regular meeting, just all of you had a chance to see the agenda. I don't know if there's any questions, concerns, anything that you would like me to address before the meeting?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about the food service agreement. Is that something normal or is that new? What is that?
No, that is something normal, and that's from ADE that we have to do annually.
Has anything changed to it?
No, other than that they now have the ability to, continue, through federal grant and federal funds, they now have the ability to continue to feed any student or anybody of school age, meals, because of that, it's been extended, because we applied for it and it's been extended. So they can continue to feed anybody who's school age who needs a meal.
Okay. That's quite the contract.
Yes, it is.
That's
Yeah,
the
it is missing. Oh.
Yeah, the only other, you have, as far as personnel,
Yes,
you had a couple of resignations,
yes,
school psychologists and an interventionist.
yes.
Good. Is the interventionist, is he still employed at the district?
No, he is not. In fact, we are looking to replace him. Well, I should say that as of tonight, he will not be. So,
His resignation doesn't take effect until, I think, the 16th of November.
oh,
Okay.
Eric,
I
like,
was
he
trying
gave
to understand that when I read in there that he wanted to continue coaching, and I didn't quite understand what that meant.
well, he coaches football, but his day job was being the interventionist. And I can tell you, Brian's here in the meeting, and he will not be coaching either. So,
I was just trying to understand why he wanted to be released from one, still want to continue doing something. I think he was still being an employee of the district, so that clarifies that. That was my question.
yeah. Well, and there's a little bit of backstory, but of course, I can't discuss that.
No, that's a you issue.
Yep. Yes.
Okay, so are we done with
So
that?
he's not gonna be, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, he will not be our interventionist, and he will not be coaching football any longer.
Okay, so he's done with football after tonight?
He's been done for a while now, right?
Yeah, it's going on 3 weeks.
It's been the last time he coached was over 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you. One other question, discuss, just for a moment, what is required to be a volunteer at the school?
Well, a volunteer, depending on the capacity, we obviously, have to have a purpose for them to be there. Right now, we're limiting that because of, and again, I guess I should ask under what capacity, as a volunteer coach or a volunteer on the campus?
And it says district volunteers.
Okay, so our
Don't
district volunteer.
disseminate
Yeah.
anymore.
We don't really disseminate any longer when we do that. It's just volunteer. We've been trying to limit, people who are on our campus on an as needed basis. If it doesn't benefit us or it's not a need, we've been trying to limit that just to keep bodies off of the campus that don't need to be there. But we background check, anybody who's gonna volunteer, they have the fingerprint background check to make sure that we want them on our campus.
Okay, so you are, we are accepting folks who are volunteers as long as they pass the normal volunteers, COVID test or thermometer or test or et cetera, staff.
Well, with volunteers, it's just like with our staff, we're not involving the tests, but we are asking every day those questions that they are not showing symptoms, they're not running a fever, they haven't been around anybody, they don't have a copy, you know, those standard questions that our rest of our employees are answering before we log into our computers every day. So we do ask the same of any volunteer before we have them on campus to verify that they are not ill.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out that, I mean, that we're slowly kind of allowing, folks to, you know, or accepting volunteers.
Well, and again, we're trying to accept it, it's on a site by site basis, and it's true, if we're doing it, it's because there's a true need.
And I can tell you that,
Okay,
I think almost all, maybe not one of them, they're all athletics. They're
Now,
all
almost every one of
volunteer
these coaches almost every one of these volunteers are coaches, which is in a different capacity, because they're not on the campus necessarily, they're out on the fields or in the gym with kids.
okay, I was just trying to figure out,
Yeah.
you know, in the past, we've had folks, you know, just monitoring or helping in different, but I mean,
Yeah.
you just had different aids and kind of systems, et cetera. So I was just trying to figure out
Yeah,
if
and
that was kind of slowly kind of opening back up.
no,
The question I've got, just in general right now, Arizona's spiking real hard.
Mhm.
There was 1,600, again, positive today.
yes. Yeah, so no, we are trying not to have volunteers on the school campuses and in the classrooms right now. But like I said, probably 99% of those people are athletics and are only around those groups of kids their coaches with.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
Anything else, or should we go to item C?
Item C.
Modifications.
Okay, well, President Hodges, members of the governing board, I just wanted a chance to talk to you a little bit about some of the findings and some things. I presented for you guys in executive content. We had 2 companies come to the campuses and do an air quality check at our school. As you all know, and as we've seen in the news and what we've looked at is air quality. It's been a bit kind of a hot button for a lot of people, and really truly with the way air conditionings work. I mean, as a superintendent, I probably know more about HVAC and air interchange than I ever cared to know in my life. And so one of the things that we wanted to do is we just said, you know, it's probably smart before we bring kids back and everything else, to have have these 2 companies come in, and they just really did some random checks to make sure that we are allowing enough outside air, if we're introducing enough outside air into our classrooms, into our buildings, into our offices, and doing that. So there were 2 reports that were done. The first one was by the Phoenix Test and Balance LLC. And on that one, again, we randomly chose some classrooms in different areas of the campuses, and they went in and did the checks. And so that documentation, but basically they came out and said is not only did we meet, but we exceeded what the standard was that was needed for introducing air into the classrooms, bringing the outside air and interchange. In the second one that we had done, that was by the McKinstry, the Building Reopening Initial Survey Report. And the reason I bring this to your attention, they too came in and looked at how we did things. And they had some recommendations for us after they had done it. Again, these are recommendations. Both companies said very clearly that you exceed the standards. You do not have to do anything should you not choose to do anything, but it is their job to make some recommendations. The recommendation that I would like to talk to you about, and the reason I have this on the agenda tonight, is the second one on page 3 of that initial building HVAC system report. And on there, it says to review the health service ventilation safety plan for each building and design negative air pressure isolation rooms for safety, temporary occupancy, and potential sick students and faculty. So what that means and the reason that is on there, at Casa Grande Union and our nurses station, in the nurses' office, there is right now, and again, Chuck, you probably know this better than I, but right now, if you look at it, it's considered having a positive pressure in there and not a negative pressure. You want to have a negative pressure in the room, because you don't want is things that are in the room to leave the room. And so you want to have that negative pressure. So once they brought that up, because it is the nurses' station, because it is a workplace where people come, they're sick, and then I would like to address that issue and have it resolved. And so I've already worked with Gina, I've worked with Tim. We're getting ready to get bids. One of the promises I made to the board is that I wouldn't recommend or go out and spend, exorbitant amount of money on different things, not with our unknown. This is nothing, the expenditures will be nothing that I would even need to bring to the board, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention as a superintendent now that I know about it. I just think it's our due diligence to correct it. And if it should be negative, let's make it negative. So I'm working with Tim right now. He's gonna get some bids. We can use our CARES money, so it won't even come out of district funds. We have money available to us. And so I would just like to get that issue resolved. If that's better for us, then I think we should address it. And so that was why I wanted to bring this up, because I do intend to spend some money and resolve that issue. I just think it's silly not to if we go now. So,
Especially.
And so that's based on the chemistry?
yes, it's on their recommendation.
Okay, and so, and it was, some of it looked like, timing and how you run things, what you're doing,
Yeah.
et cetera.
Yeah.
As opposed to dollar kind of things, or is it just kind of like?
Right. Well, a lot of it is, it's kind of like those things. Some of it is when it says professional service item, it's like, let me point out something that we can, if you hire us, we can do for you. And that's kind of some of those things. Obviously, that second item is professional service because it's an add-on improvement to an existing system. And so it would require, beyond, we don't have anybody within the district that has that expertise or that ability to resolve the pressure issue, to turn it from positive to negative. And then some of the other ones were just simply some suggestions and some different things that we might do, just to make sure that we're being as efficient with our HVAC as we possibly can.
Okay,
So-
do you have idea dollar, just rough idea dollar-wise, or?
You know what? I would have to, Tim is not here right now. I don't know. I would be hard pressed. I would say it's probably because it's gonna require some, ventilation and some air change and everything else. I'm gonna guess it to be probably less than $25,000. It's gonna be fairly expensive because of some of the things that need to get done, and the way that is done. But again, I'm not planning on using any district dollars. We're planning on using the CARES grant money that we got, to resolve this issue because it does fall, we've already checked it, it does fall within the terms of what we could fix and repair. Because if it wasn't for, again, and let me go back to what they said initially, even though they pointed out these recommendations, we could do nothing and we are fine, and we're not doing anything that would be detrimental to anybody's health or anything like that. But they did point out that because it is a nursing station, it would be in our best interest to resolve this issue. And so that's why I would like to resolve it and get it fixed. So, but,
A couple questions.
yes,
On Kim, on the report, on the rooms that were tested,
yes,
it looked like, all of them were that double over what the minimum outside air is, and they haven't, according to Kim, that setting has not been changed since the school's open. I'm wondering, with the report, are we planning on increasing the outside air on these rooms over and above what they already set at?
My understanding from talking to it is that no, we don't need to, because like you just pointed out, we are already exceeding the standard for the amount of outside air we're introducing.
Yes, we are.
So we don't
The
need,
more outside air we pump out, the more it's gonna cost to run those units, because we're pumping more air.
right. So what we have done, and you may or may not be aware of it, so let me just make sure. And you guys who are in the board meeting, you can see the one over there. The other thing we've done with our CARES money is we bought air purifiers for every single
Okay.
classroom, the gymnasium, the cafeterias, the library, every office. So between the extra outside air that we're already introducing and the air purifiers, and we've now ordered HEPA filters for every filter area in our schools that we can change. I believe that we have demonstrated as a district, we've gone well over and beyond to make sure that the air quality in our buildings and our schools is at the highest level it could possibly be. So we've really gone over and above to make sure we're addressing that and we're keeping everybody safe.
Is the grant taking care of all of that?
Yes.
Wow.
You know, so they have the filters, the air purifiers, all of that we've been able to order through grant money. So, and so I talked.
I know one of our personnel, Brian Russell, has made a couple of email comments about our air filtration.
Yes,
I hope this meets with his approval and gets somewhere near what he was pushing at, but probably doesn't. But at least we're making a real good effort in making sure we get this covered.
yes. Well, I was just in his room yesterday, to be honest with you. And not only does he have his air purifier, he's made a couple of homemade purifiers that he's got going on in there as well. You know, but again, these documents after this board meeting, these documents do become public, and we're not, you know, it's nothing we're trying to keep secret. In fact, I plan on in my November article, I'm gonna write about just what I just shared with you, the things that we are doing as a district to address air quality, and what we're doing as a district to try to make sure we're, you know, doing everything we can for our students and staff to keep everybody safe.
That sounds really good. It's
So-
important that we demonstrate to the public, and we also do, that we make sure that we make our campuses as safe and environmentally safe as we can through the pandemic.
Yep. Well, and on top of that, we've now, and again, it's more work for our guys, but since we bought the air purifiers, we are now, Tim is putting them as part of our preventative maintenance. So that will be a regular thing that we will have people, when it's time to change the filter in every one of those things, we will be as a district changing out those filters, keeping them up and running regularly like we're supposed to. So, Joe?
Question, as a board, are we privy to the amount of money we have available through the CARES Act?
Yes, you are. And you know, I don't have that number right off the top of my head, but Marilyn will be at the meeting tonight, and I can certainly give you that total number that we were awarded. Absolutely can. So, anyway, any other questions on that? I just wanted to bring it to your attention because I do want to address that, the nursing station. I just think it's it's a good thing. Now that we're aware of it, we should address it. And so I'd like to get that done as soon as possible, so we can, you know, rest easy that, it's the negative pressure that it should be in that room.
Yep, very important.
Okay.
Brings us to the last item, and that's the board self-evaluation discussion on that.
Do we have to turn this into you or scan it? send it to
Yeah,
you,
you
or
can, if you can just get it to me at some point. So the first part is, you know, the board's evaluation, the board members' evaluation of the complete board, and then of course the last part is, haven't really understood what they want from this. I think if you guys have any discussion on the whole board part, I mean, it's totally up to you. If not, then we just take these and put them away and file them away and say that you guys completed your board self-evaluation, so.
Did anybody have any questions or any discussion or anything they wanted to do on any of them?
Should we discuss any of the needs improvement section or just turn it in as such? I know I had a couple.
Okay, well, Joe had a couple of areas that he wanted to talk about.
That's great.
Yeah, board relationship with staff and personnel. I know COVID-19 has a bearing on this, but on the second one, on the board relationships with staff and personnel on page 2. The board members make every effort to become acquainted with the personnel of the district. Personally, I know I haven't made every effort possible to.
Well, and Joe, I've got satisfactory and even drunk, got them both circled.
Okay. Yeah, and here again, I know part of it is COVID-19, but that's not an excuse now that we have all these safety protocols in place. The second one I had on board relationship to the instructional program, on number 1, the board makes an effort to keep informed about the instructional program by providing the periodic reports as deemed necessary and by periodic visitation in the schools. Well, periodic visitation for myself has been virtually nil, and I know that's something that the superintendent has exhorted us to do, and be part of it so that we can actually see what's actually going on in the classrooms. So that needs more improvement on my part.
It's too late for me.
Well, and, you know, and again, I know Chuck last year, Chuck and I did walk classrooms together. I know that Jack has talked to me. So, and Joe, I will let you know the same. And when I do my board reports, I will try to project 2 weeks out in front of when I'm going to be walking campuses. And you are more than welcome to join me. Just let me know you want to come along. You're more than welcome to join me on my walks. So. And if you want to come.
Is there a way that Mary could calculate the results of each board evaluation and kind of give us a summary on the satisfactory, and each work I went?
Yes, I will do that.
You got a 1 piece thing?
Yes, I will do that.
Yeah, Mary can average them and then get it back to the board so you can see the final results.
Okay.
Joe?
On page 3, excuse me, listing the order of priority for challenges the board faces. Here again, due to this pandemic, cooperation between parents and school officials regarding COVID-19, safety implementations, and also media intrusion. And all the stuff that's being brought out there by the media, because just today I read that we're having a special board meeting because we're going to discuss whether to close our schools or not. And I see that Maricopa had a big.
Yeah, where'd that come from?
Yeah, and so that's just been one of my things that, you know, that as far as the parents out there in the street are asking me, well, you guys going to close down the school? And it's just been a lot of mixed jumble of misinformation.
Well, and to answer your question, remember, right, I think that the article in the dispatch came from item C of this meeting's agenda, where it says potential modifications at CGUHS. I think a lot of people, because I had staff members, I had teachers, I've explained this item to probably 25 people in the last 24 hours. So I think a lot of people read it in that we were going to have some discussion about changing the way we do business or making some major modifications to something instructionally. And so I tried to correct everybody and remind everybody that this is a special meeting, and that in a special meeting, you as a board are not making any decisions or voting on anything. So it's just a discussion. So, but it'll be interesting to see if they show up at the next meeting hoping for some huge story.
I thought it kind of interesting. She wrote that article, or whoever wrote that article, and it was on Maricopa Union School District, Unified School District, and one line is referred to us, which we're going to talk about that in this evening special meeting. Why just kind of run
Well, and then this morning, today's edition of the Dispatch, there was an article on the front page that again suggested that there was gonna be some major decision made today.
I missed it.
Now it's in this fast?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Front page.
it was in the Dispatch on the front page. So I said, well, that's interesting, I hope they're not too disappointed.
That's a miracle for school district.
Yeah.
Or-
Yeah, I don't take the dispatch anymore. I read it when I go into it.
It's good to at least know what's being recorded. Yeah, so do we have the time to discuss now the difference of Maricopa versus Casa Grande? Because I'm trying to think of the differences in population size between the students in that district versus ours, because it seems like that school district's having a lot of issues with COVID-19. And I'm wondering, is it because their protocols are not in place the way ours are? And is that why we have such a low number of?
Well, I can explain what I know. And again,
And just one question, Steve.
yeah,
Didn't they open full?
yes, I know other schools, so Maricopa High School, Combs, none of them opened in a hybrid model like we are. Okay, none of them opened with every AP days and every other day. They opened as all in person every day or all online every day. Okay, but this is what I do know. Again, another place as a superintendent, I never thought I would be more educated in COVID and all these things that are going on. What I know from talking to the county health, because we've talked to them many a times. Brian, Linda, both talked to them at least once today. It's almost becoming a way of life now. You're gonna be calling the county at some point in time before the school day is over on something that's coming up. What we've learned is, and what they came out and very publicly said a week ago, is it's not necessarily the number of COVID cases that cause a school district or school to shut down. It's the number of cases being contracted on a school campus, in a classroom, in the school building. Knock on wood, so far, our cases have not been contracted at school. They've been contracted outside of school. If we can keep it that way, we have a better chance of keeping our schools open. And I think the modality that we chose, because again, I've walked classrooms Monday and Friday. Yesterday, and I walked them last Friday. Walking into classrooms, I think one class had 15 kids in it. That's the biggest class I walked into. So it's easier to social distance. It's easier when we have had cases of a student that is known potentially positive. We can go, okay, this is where this kid sits, and our teachers have seating charts. So we can say, this is exactly where this kid sits. So we have to go 6 feet in every direction and notify those people, but not necessarily quarantine an entire classroom. So I think the modality that member Hennis just brought up, because we are in a hybrid model and we have smaller, because it's making it easier to manage than some of these other schools have.
What is the procedure every day on a daily basis with these students coming in from the campus? Are they given a temperature?
No, we don't, we said we weren't gonna do that, and we've been advised by our attorney not to do that, because then you start taking liability. If we take a temperature and say you're okay to be here, and then they're really not okay to be here, then we can take on some liability.
So what would?
We've asked our parents to please not send us your children if they're showing any type of symptoms, if they're, just like we've asked our employees, err on the side of caution and don't come to work if you're not feeling well. We just as soon you stay home as to come in and risk getting anybody sick. So we're not doing that. If anybody shows up on campus and they start to show any type of signs, we immediately get them to the nurse, we isolate them, and we get them off campus as fast as possible. So that's kind of where we're going.
Is that how those three cases were discussed?
No, a lot of these cases, most of the cases right now, parents are having kids tested and then notifying the school that they just had their kid tested. So in most cases, parents are having people tested, or somebody in their family's been tested positive, and then they're notifying us. Anybody who notifies us, our nurses are filling out a form that we immediately submit to the county. And then we follow the county's lead. So, Brian's called, I've called, Mary Ann's called, Linda's called. We on every case, we call the county and we follow their direction. So, But what I'm understanding is the difference between schools that are having to close down and schools that have not is cases not being contracted on the school campus.
When the ADDHS decided that they were gonna change things, without including most of the schools or visiting with the school board association, and they just changed, the percentage. How was that translated down to the, county level?
Well, so at the county level, what I can tell you is what I understand, is we talked to, Jan, from Pinell County Health last week, is they were also, they didn't have it, nobody had any idea. And again, what I've been told now is to be politically correct, they didn't necessarily change the document. But if you look at the document that came out, it originally said to operate in a hybrid model, you had to have somewhere between 5% and 10% positivity. That's always been the case. But ADHS came out and said, 10's too high, we're gonna go with 7. So 7% is the number that we've used, and that's the number that's been reported, and that's the number I send you guys, just like I send the staff, every week I send you our benchmarks. 7% has been the number. Last week, they just took out the 7 and replaced it with 10. So now we can go up to 10% positivity. So they didn't necessarily change the document, they just removed their suggested 7 and put the 10 in place. So now that is the benchmark. We can have 10% positivity or 10% hospitalization. So that's the change. And it was not communicated, it just showed up on last week's benchmark. So even Pinell County Health didn't know about it until after the fact.
Yeah, interesting timing.
Yeah. So,
Anything else on the self-evaluation? Anybody want to discuss?
Now, I think the only other one that I have, I think most of them are successful. I put pretty much with Joe that I COVID community, student performance, and then safety was on my general list of statements. And then the only one that I had, as far as under number 1, the board imparts information on issues needed in place in a manner allowing the superintendent the opportunity to solve related problems in a professional manner. I just, first thing I detail, I hope that I'm trying to bring things to you in a professional manner and didn't want to make sure that, bring stuff to you that we're going to Steve so that he can disseminate to the rest of the board.
well, I think that for all of you do, I really appreciate that. Marilyn just walked in. Do you remember what's the total amount of money we were awarded for CARES? Do you remember?
It was 700 and some change.
700,000. Okay, to answer your guys' question, Marilyn just walked in, it was a little over 700,000 is what we were awarded for our CARES money for our district, for ourselves. Do we know how much that's been spent?
Not as much as we expected, just because things are so unpredictable right now. We have a lot of items that we paid for that we may not end up using, and so I don't have a lot of history if you're talking about the changes, the renovations.
Yeah.
About including it.
Yeah, so a lot of the things that we anticipated, we haven't spent money on, or our anticipation didn't align with what reality is, and so we still have money available to do. So we're still in a really good shape.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
The only other one I had under C, I think that's actually on 1 and 2. Number 3, that all board members need to conduct themselves such manner to emphasize that individual board members have authority only when convened in a legally conducted board meeting with at least a quorum present. I think especially with a new board coming on, we just need to make sure that Robert's rules and maybe a little boardsmanship, that maybe an ASBA
seminar or something, or that they come down and put them do a virtual thing with training, or that's just kind of bring people up to speed on how you act as a board member.
Member Hennis, and I'm glad you brought that up, and I was gonna talk about that, at the end of the regular meeting when it comes to, future board items. But with the existing board members who are on this, board now, yes, ASBA usually offers that, and so as soon as possible, after the first of the year, I think it would be a great idea to have a retreat and bring ASBA in and do that, their usual training, because we will have new members on the board. So to bring them up to
Well, the
speed.
ASBA has a new board member, conference, it'll probably be virtual this year, but
Yeah,
they bring them all together, and that's really a new board member.
Yep.
So they'll have that training too.
well, and they usually do that in conjunction with the law conference. So, they
Yeah.
just did it.
That's right.
They usually do that in conjunction the day before a law conference, so they just had one. But I can talk with Nikki and, people at ASBA, and I guarantee you they would come out and do a board training for us. They do it every,
Yeah,
they do it every time.
I'd like to do that as a whole group board training.
Yes,
I agree, Gary, might be a great idea.
They have one over in Canal, at
Yeah.
the superintendent's office.
Yeah. so I'll be proactive and, because everybody, there's a lot of boards that are gonna have some new members, so I'll get with them in the next few weeks and see if we can't get something on the radar, sooner than later, so we can get out in front of everybody else who's probably gonna wanna do the same thing.
Yeah,
But that's a great thing.
that's good.
Anything else?
I'm moving adjourned.
I second that.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
20 minutes.
Okay, I'll call you back at 6:30.
Let's call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Mr. Hennis,
Here.
Mr. Wright,
Here.
Mr. Lopez,
Here.
Ms. Hawkins.
Here. Will please join me in the pledge of allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Thank you. On number 2. And move to adopt the agenda. Number Okay, somebody want to second that?
I will second the move to adopt the agenda of November 3rd as presented.
Discussion?
Mr. Hennis,
Aye. Yes.
Mr. Wright,
Yeah,
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
and Ms. Hawkins.
Yes. Okay. Item B, move to approve the minutes of October 6 and 9, 2020 as presented.
I will move to approve the minutes of October 6th and 9th as presented.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Hennis,
Yes.
Mr. Wright,
yeah,
Ms. Hawkins.
Yes. Recognition, student of the month recognition. Start out with CTE students of the month, Mr. Syke.
Thank you, President Hopkins, honorable board members, Dr. Beebe. This evening, I'm gonna do a little different because we have two, so we'll pull them up one at a time. Tonight, I'm honored to recognize two students, one from each of our construction technology programs. First, from Vista Grande High School, Aiden Pitts. Come on up. Aiden was nominated by his construction teacher, Mr. Rich Contreras. Aiden's a senior with a 3.392 GPA and second-year student in the construction technology program. So he started, and when we started the program, he started with the program. He always comes to class with a passion to excel in construction. His future goals are to join the Navy and train to be a nuclear engineer. Aiden believes that with hard work and a good work ethic, his potential is unlimited in the Navy. Aiden's parents are here with us this evening. Aiden's parents, I'm sorry, are Oliver Pitts and Damian and Michelle Cooper. And I believe we have Damian and Michelle with us here this evening. Oliver, oh, thank you. Congratulations. I'm not supposed to do that. Sorry.
We have
Next, we have Michael Forrest from Castrand Union High School. Michael? Michael was nominated by his construction teacher, Mr. Mike Wagner. Michael is currently a junior with a 4.194 GPA, completing his third year of construction program at CGUHS. Additionally, he is enrolled in the industrial carpentry program at CAC. Michael could have graduated early this year, but has chosen to remain in school for all 4 years to complete the construction program to strengthen his skill set in the construction industry and receive the rather lucrative gift that he will get for being a 4-year completer. You want to tell him what that is?
A pocket knife.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Wagner awards a pocket knife to the kids that complete 4 years. And that's probably not the best thing for school, but you know, it's when they leave. Michael plans to pursue a career in generator maintenance and repair industry. Michael's parents are James and Rochelle Forrest, and I believe they're here with us this evening. Michael, congratulations. Here, I won't shake your hand. I made that.
Okay, Rotary Students of the Month, start with Principal Cole. Followed by Principal Mayor.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Beebe. Tonight, it's my honor to introduce Rotary Club Student of the Month, Melanie Nagel. Melanie is the daughter of Julie Holdsworth and Eric Nagel, here with us tonight. And some of her activities and accomplishments are, she has been an academic scholar since she was a freshman. She is a member of Key Club. She is Math League member and secretary. She's a member of the National Honor Society, and she's a member of our brand new Link crew. She is a Link crew leader, and that is a group of students that foster our freshmen as they come in. She has also been a member of Thespians, Skills USA historian, and there's a lot of work involved with Skills USA. And she was student council secretary, member of the tennis team, and she is also a member of the Casa Grande Youth Commission. She's been treasurer. She's treasurer. She's been a Hobie participant. Girls State, go Girls State, yay. And volunteer at the Vista Grande Library. Right now, her life and career goals are undecided. She's still exploring options.
Yeah.
And she might go to NAU in the fall, go Lumberjacks. So congratulations, Melanie.
Good evening, board president, board members, Dr. Beebe. Pleasure to be in front of you today and recognize an outstanding young lady from Casa Grande Union High School. Unfortunately, she can't be with us this evening. Oh, did she just come in? Yay, come on over.
Perfect timing.
You are just in the nick of time.
Did I tell you she knows how to make an entrance? Right here, face right here. So this is Genevieve Hayes, and she's just an amazing young lady. She's here with her mom, Elizabeth Patilla, and an extra sister. So we're grateful that they're here tonight. Some of the accomplishments that she's done is for the last 4 years, she's participated in the Ameren Club, where she has also competed in the Ameren pageant and won the title of Miss Ameren First Attendant. Her statement is that this is one of her greatest accomplishments since it has allowed her to represent her Native American tribe and heritage as she's explored and learned more about it. In addition, she's a member of HOSA, or Health Occupational Students of America, during the last 4 years. During that time, she can teach all of us about parliamentary procedures. She is a parliamentarian and has been part of their team for all 4 years, winning 4th place in HOSA State Leadership Conference. Later on, qualifying for the International Leadership Conference, winning 3rd place at the State Leadership Conference. And finally, during her junior year, was in the biomedical debate team that qualified for the State Leadership Conference before it was canceled, unfortunately, due to COVID-19. And then was the parliamentarian for Union's HOSA chapter. Since then, she's also participated with the Lemelson MIT Invent Team. That was a tongue twister. Where they received a $10,000 grant from MIT to build an original invention. What was the invention you did?
It's called the Fire Defense Initiative, in which the houses battling California fires could have a defense mechanism to save their house.
Creative. They were able to present that invention physically at MIT during their Eureka Fest, and she was the communication lead on that team. She's participated in the STEM Advisory Committee during the last years and currently holds the position of chairperson. She's been a National Honor Society member and is currently the president of Casa Grande Union's NHS chapter. She is also a member of Link Crew, where she is the treasurer for this new club. She's been the CAC annual 42nd high school math competition participant, where she won second place for the level 2 team competition. Additionally, she's been a key club member, Cougar ambassador, Upward Bound, debate club, Mu Alpha Theta, drama, and annual SciTech presenter. Some of her personal accomplishments include a lot of volunteerism. She received a volunteer recognition award with the VFW Post 1677 for her volunteer work. She was a volunteer of the month in March for Vista Grande Homework Helpers Tutor. And she's done all of this while maintaining exceptional grades, as well as being an AP Scholar award recipient. She's been a national participant for the Voice of Democracy Scholarship and won first place with state and district. Some of her ambitions includes traveling. She's enjoyed traveling to Boston, Washington, DC, California, and Alabama. And I love this. She said she loved Alabama for soaking up the history. And she enjoys talking with her grandparents and having game nights with her friends. Finally, her ambitions include going to either University of California, Berkeley, University of Arizona, University of Southern California. I wouldn't be surprised if she did all three. And get a major in bioscience, chemistry, and or environmental sciences, where she wants to then be a scientific researcher to find solutions to current and possible other environmental medical issues. And doing that while she travels and shares that knowledge across the world. She wants to give back, that's an overall theme, to her mom, to her community, to family, to school, with an angle of making a positive impact on those that she encounters. Please congratulate with me Genevieve Hayes.
Congratulations, Genevieve.
Thank you.
Great choice on school there.
Next will be the superintendent's report. Phoebe.
Are we doing?
Or no, I'm
Employee
sorry.
recognition.
I moved right along, employee recognition, I got it up on my screen too.
President Hodges, members of the governing board, I'm going to ask Mary Ann to come to the podium, and I'm going to come up here. It's always a pleasure to recognize our employees. So these are the employees of the month for November.
Jared Welter.
I think you can make it.
Hilda Ortega. Molly Ryan. Melanie Keiser. Christine Collins. Gretchen Plegenpool. David Tagg. And leader Victoria Figueroa.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now, since there's no call to the public, Phoebe.
All right. President Hodges, members of the governing board, it's always my pleasure to get a chance to brag a little bit on some of the great things happening in our district. So tonight I'd like to start out by letting you know and saying a big thank you to APS and their Supply My Class gift card program. We had 17 teachers receive these gift cards totaling $8,500 for our district. So the following teachers have been, people have been recognized. So Melody Aldridge, Beth Craig, Shirlene Mattis, Gretchen Plagenpool, Michelle Bottomley, Bobby DeVay, Noel Kay, Rosa Quasabena, Martin Hebda, Sharon Lighthouser, John Morris, Allison Bell, Christy Saucedo, Carmelita Belrosa, Ann Quick, Megan Seymour, and Melody Stoll. So thank you to APS and those teachers who are receiving those gift cards. So they can do that. I had the opportunity to watch part of the Casa Grande Union swim team's home meet on October 7th versus Combs and Coolidge. And it's just really nice with, to have that partnership with the city and for our kids to be able to swim right here in the park. So big congratulations to the Casa Grande Union freshman football team for a 54-0 win over Lake Havasu on October 8th. And I also had the opportunity to attend senior night at Casa Grande Union. I'd like to say congratulations to all the seniors from football, marching band, cheer, swim, who are beginning their final seasons this fall. It's always nice to see our seniors. Congratulations to the Vista Grande varsity volleyball team who defeated Post and Butte on October 8th. Congratulations to the Casa Grande Union varsity football team who defeated Lake Havasu 52-7 on October the 9th. Congratulations to the Casa Grande Union football team who defeated freshman football team who defeated Vista Grande 62-6 on October 15th. And congratulations to the Casa Grande Union varsity football team who did retain the Rotary Cup this year with their 62-7 win over Vista at the rivalry game on the 16th. Congratulations to the Vista Grande varsity volleyball team that defeated Coronado 3-0 on October 20th. And another congratulations to the Vista Grande football team for a 32-6 win over North Canyon on October 23rd. Also, big news for our district. I'd like to say huge congratulations to Casa Grande Union's Mr. Casey Farnsworth and his FFA program for their most recent accolades. Last week at the 2020 Arizona Agriculture Teachers Association Awards, Mr. Farnsworth was named South Central District Teacher of the Year. He also received the Outstanding Community Service Award and was named the AATA Teacher of the Year. And his FFA chapter was named the Outstanding Single Teacher Program of the Year. So congratulations, Mr. Farnsworth, and his program. He does an outstanding job. Another congratulations to Vista Grande freshman football team for a 40-20 win over Washington on the 29th of October. And congratulations to the Casa Grande Union varsity football team for their big 41-21 win over Buena last Friday night. Besides the Employees of the Month, I'd also like to formally congratulate our golden ticket winners for the month of November. Maria Tejas from Vista Grande was the grand prize winner. Anthony Lee from District Office, Brad Kepler from Casa Grande Union, and Mike Marietta from Vista Grande were our winners. And then I also like to one more time thank the Big House Cafe for agreeing to be our Employee of the Month sponsor and hosting our Employee of the Month breakfast every month. So tonight's Employees of the Month will have the opportunity to join me for breakfast at the Big House on next Tuesday, November 10th at 7:30 a.m. So that concludes my report.
Matters reserved for board action. Move to approve on item A, move to approve the revised 2021 academic calendar as presented.
I so moved.
Second, discussion?
Just clarify what that's about, Steve, so that
Sure.
whatever you want to do, so that folks in the community know that this is just, we're just kind of, what exactly this is, so that whatever's floating out in the community is not an issue.
Absolutely. So, Member Henderson, members of the governing board, the reason for the revision is because for B-Day, It's always been a tradition in our district that we don't want our students to have to take more than 3 finals in any given day. It gets a little bit rigorous to have to do more than that. So what we've done is we revised the calendar so that each, the A students and B students will have 2 days of finals on each, every other day. So again, we also put a day in between, so they're not taking them back to back. So we just added a couple more days of finals, so the students are only taking 3 finals in a day, and they're not taking them back to back days. So we want our students to be very successful as they wrap up the semester.
Any other questions?
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Hennis,
Yes.
Mr. Wright,
Yes.
and Ms. Hawkins.
Yes. Item 6B, move to approve the food program permanent service agreement as presented.
I move to approve the food program as presented.
I second.
Discussion.
This is, Steve, just for clarification, this is an annual agreement between the district and the state and the Fed.
Correct. So we will bring this to you every year.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Hennis,
Yes.
Mr. Wright,
Yes.
and Ms. Hawkins.
Yes. Item C, donations. Move to accept the following donations. $1,000 donation from the Thunderbirds Foundation to Vista Grand Golf Club, $10,000 from Nissan North America LLC to the Cass Grand First Robotics Team. Thank you.
Wow, very generous.
Anybody want to move to approve that?
Then I'll move to approve that Nissan one, that's like an annual thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
How long has it been going?
While.
Oh, it's been going for probably 18, 20 years.
Yeah, it's been quite a while.
Yeah, I remember when it first came.
Yeah,
Yeah, it started with Chris Murray, and that's been at least 18 years ago.
okay,
They're both nice.
very nice donation.
Anybody want, I'll second it.
Oh, there's no discussion. Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Hawkins,
Yes.
Mr. Hennis,
Yes.
and Mr. Wright.
Yes.
Okay, consent agenda, we have items A through H. Is there anything anybody wants to hold for discussion? Move to approve the consent agenda, items A through H.
So moved.
I will second.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Mr. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Hennis? Mr. Hennis,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
and Ms. Hawkins.
Yes. Okay, so there's nothing, no informational items. Anything, number 9, future agenda items, anything anybody wants brought up?
Yeah, like Mr. Hennis said, earlier in the special thing, we on the schedule, ASBA training session for our new board as soon as possible to get everybody on the same page as far as, board procedures and rules of order, that type of thing.
And I can work with ASBA to get that set up for sometime after the first of the year, when the new board is in place. As far as future agenda items for the board, I would like to suggest that we have some discussion, probably in a special meeting, and then also as part of the formal board meeting in December. The board has voted for us to return to school in modified in person. We're doing that. Right now it's well, we're doing that. But as we move into the spring, I'm getting a lot of questions about, are we going to stay in the same model? Are we going to make any changes, modifications? So I think it's probably smart that we have some discussion formally and so we can make some solid decisions before we move into the spring semester. One of the things that I can share with the board is that both Principal Mabb and Principal Cole are communicating with parents. Parents will have until Friday, the 20th of November, to contact their school and or their counselor to make any change to the current learning modality that they have chosen. So if they're learning online and they want to go to modified in person, or if they're modified in person, they want to go to online, they'll have to notify the counselor by the 20th of November, make that change. So until I have those numbers, it would be hard for me to have any formal discussion with you as a board. But I think that we should discuss it both in the special session and in the regular meeting in December, so we can make some solid decisions moving into the spring.
Also,
Yeah, the only other thing I was gonna mention about board items, I just wanna make sure that we as a board, and you mentioned that your weekly letters and express to parents and community, et cetera,
Yeah.
that we're keeping, all of the parents and all of the students and staff, et cetera, abreast of where, things are right now, especially with Arizona kind of peaking again,
Yes.
or ramping up by 1,600, another 45 deaths. And it kind of seems to be kind of the trajectory still seems to be kind of going up. That we make folks available, aware of what, of where we are, where we stand, and what we're doing as a district.
Yes. Yes, Member Henderson, so, as back twice last week, so as things come up and change, I'm communicating, with our faculty and staff. I'm also sending letters to our parents in the community, so everybody's abreast of things that are coming on or what is going on. I'm also continuing to send, the ADHS benchmarks, out to our staff, and then making them public on our district webpage and on both school web pages every week, so our parents and our students are also aware of this current trends and where we are with this virus. So,
Yeah, I also would like to, possibly get together some comparable information on other neighborhood schools or schools in the area that are using the same hybrid model and the kind of success that they're having as far as COVID challenges. See how we compare with the schools that are doing the same thing that we're doing.
and,
Is anybody doing what we're doing?
as far as I know, Member Wright, I meet with the Pinal County superintendents every week. Maricopa is not doing a hybrid. Coolidge is not doing a hybrid. Florence is not doing a hybrid. Combs is not doing a hybrid. Santa Cruz Valley is not doing a hybrid. So I don't know that anybody else is doing a hybrid, but
Exactly my point.
yeah.
That maybe we have an advantage in showing our families that we have an advantage by doing what we're doing. The kids are spread out more, the class sizes are smaller, and maybe some comparisons of schools up in the valley that are not the hybrid model going on. Because there's a lot of reports of schools closing up there, but we don't know whether they're hybrid or whether they're full in person. And it would be nice to know, I know Steve Irvin puts out a column every day and talking about schools closing, but he never gives any information on what model those schools are operating under. So I think we've got a good thing going at our schools. We need to let people know that.
I agree, and I meet with the Pinal County superintendents every Wednesday morning, so I can certainly check with them. And I can also check with the Guppy Match group and see who else in Maricopa County might be doing. I'm not aware of anybody else who's doing the hybrid, but I can certainly try to find out.
Okay, thank you.
That's my favorite, acronym.
Sophie, Matt?
The Guppy Match?
I don't know what, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it sounds fun.
Don't ask me to give you the full name because I'll mess it up. So
That's it. And I won't make that challenge.
One more thing for December, in conjunction with the board self-evaluation is also Dr. Beebe's evaluation. So I will be sending out the evaluation instrument to you, and you will do that evaluation during the special meeting, executive session during the special meeting in December.
That's great.
Anything else?
Be careful, be safe. I move to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They're gone. I'm gonna give this back to you.